This is Richard back at you guys. We got Miss Teresa on the camera. We got Miss Annie in the house watching the siding people. Literally watching them. But we got Larry's 727 in the house. We did this tranny, I'm thinking probably about 8 years ago. It's in a little 68 Barracuda. It's I think it's got like a small cubic inch motor in it now, but he's going to a 500 cubic inch Indy motor. So we're going to try to step up the tranny or put a billet input shaft in it and kind of see what else we did to it back then, if we can improve it today. So it looks a little nasty. It's been sitting around for a while. You know how it is when you got to save up money to buy a bigger motor and stuff like that. Your other parts kind of sit around, collect dust until it's time to get them repaired, and then you kind of put it all back together. Huh, Teresa?
You got it.
We know how it is when you race cars, for sure. But anyway, what we got, this is a fully manual tranny. There's no passing gear cable. The TV throttle right here is going to be locked down solid. It doesn't move. Actually, it moves, but it doesn't control any TV pressure inside the tranny. It's locked solid where it's at max pressure when it shifts. So, and then we have our linkage here, your park reverse neutral drive. This tranny's pretty dirty from sitting for quite a while, huh, Teresa?
Yeah.
Now you notice the snap ring is on the side of the transmission that releases the output shaft from the tail housing. You know, on the Dodge diesels, it's on top of the overdrive housing. Some crossers on the side, or on the bottom, excuse me, and some of them are on the side, just depending on what year. Pretty neat. We got the same little cover, different type of screws though that hold it. And then you can see the snap ring in there. So when we open this snap ring, the output shaft should fall. Usually it falls there, Grant. See how it fell? See how the snap ring's open now. And once we get it built, we're going to lift this back up and lock it in like that. So it falls. Pretty neat. We'll use electric today, see how that works on these bolts. Some people like air, some people like electric. I like them both. I actually like air underneath the vehicle more than electric. Put this over here. And we always keep our parts from our previous transmission. We should bring the customer in here and kind of show him everything that we replaced in that Dodge diesel that we just got through doing. It's a lot of parts. Transmission lines, snap rings, I mean all kinds of stuff. So we replaced a ton of parts in those. So we like to show it to the customer. That way they can kind of see what they got replaced there. You always got to pull the speedometer assembly out of these to get it to go past that bearing. Now it does have a gear, which we've got it plugged where he doesn't use it, so. But it does have to turn a certain way. You look at your tooth count here. You look at the numbers here. There's numbers on this thing, and because this is offset, you turn it to the right number to get the gear to spline with the shaft here. See, you turn it because it's out here, and as you turn it, it puts it in the gear. You turn it this way, it pulls it out. So you have to adjust it to where it lines up with the gear right on the output shaft. That tail housing bushing looks like it's never been used. Look at that, it still looks brand new. And I mean, his car runs really well, really well. No trash. We have our case gasket and tail housing gasket right here. We have our bearing here. You always want to check it, make sure it's not rough, replace it. You have our governor here. So your normal governor that slides in the side on a 700 or a 350, your governor is mounted to the output shaft on a Chrysler 727. Got your parking place here. This lever here comes and pushes it out right here and locks it in here for park. Pretty simple. So I'm going to pull the valve body off and do some air checking on the bands before I take them loose. See what it looks like in there. So we've had the pan off of it, or somebody has.
Sounds like something's loose in there.
Got a few bolts.
There's got a bolt in there.
Yep. 2 pan bolts.
Yep.
Which the filter's missing, which we probably took it off for a long time because, like I said, we've had this tranny for a while, and we were going to put a trans brake on it, stuff like that, but we're not now. We're just going to leave it the way it is. So we're just going to try to make it better than what it was. This is a Cheetah valve body. They're really good valve bodies. I think they make the best brake valve body for this tranny than anybody. You can see here, I was turning the TV lever. See, there's no valve even coming out to touch it. Nothing sticking out. So they got that blocked on the inside. Could have a special manual valve here, but you can see here Cheetah. I don't think that's a date. I think that's just maybe a part number on it. So, I actually got the wrong screwdriver. Take that apart. Anytime we do these here, what we do is we'll block this piston completely out like this, but we block it out enough to where it doesn't keep the valve body off the case right here. So you've got to block it, check it, so you get it right. I mean, you can block it multiple ways. We have a bolt that sticks up in there, locks it up like that. It's never going to move once you tighten it down. It's there, period. But that will firm up second gear a ton by doing that. So that's a must. We have our second gear band here. We have our reverse band here. So we can find some air here real quick. I'll air check it and see what moves. What we like to do is set these up to where you can barely get your finger under that lever right there, and that'll be about 2 7/8 turns on this nut here, so, or on the adjustment right there. But just make sure you check it with your finger, but don't have your finger on there when you put air to it. Excuse me. Same way here. I can't remember what the adjustment is here, but you always want to adjust this too. And then we're going to have our forward clutch and our direct clutch. Oh, excuse me, this is our forward. This is our direct. Your direct's always going to sound solid. Hear that? Your forward's always going to have a whoop whoop to it, kind of. Hear that? So if you put too much air pressure in it, you can actually bend the bevel plate that's applying the forward clutch. So you don't want to do that. Let me get this adjustment nut off here, and then the stud that comes out. Let me turn this. Hope everybody's been having a great day.
Anybody need any wind, by the way?
Yeah, we bottled a bunch of Texas wind up the other day. If y'all are needing any, we'll ship it for free.
Yep. Don't know when it'll get there, but eventually.
Eventually. And if y'all need any of y'all's dirt back, we got plenty of y'all's dirt too. We'll ship it back to you. Y'all probably got a bunch of ours. But you can see your band struts here. Now we're going to upgrade this one here to a thicker one this time. That way it won't bend in the middle, because these can bend in the middle. Very simple. Huh. Almost looks like something hit that right there one time, huh? Look at that. Or it just could have been just that way. It doesn't look like it did any damage, but it could have been that way from the factory, shipped that way. There's no telling. This looks like somebody hit it.
Don't remember it being like that?
Nah, 7 years ago, I don't remember much. On this, 400 transmissions down the road. Anytime we do race car stuff, we double seal the bolts. Because these things are going to get hot, hot, hot. And we don't want no leaks on the track at all. If you look at the pump stator here, you notice we put high pressure sealing rings in here. These rings, I get them in all the diesel shift kits. I save them. But I can't get out of it because this glove there. Here it comes. They do make a stainless ring here too, and they make a steel ring. The steel ring is for gas, the stainless is for diesel, but you can retrofit them. You never want to put a stainless or a steel into a high performance or in a diesel. You can use a stainless, but we still like to use the Teflon. Just a lot better ring, especially when you're running a full line pressure, you're running a trans brake or anything like that. I'm going to show you something on this stuff here too, guys. It's really important. Anytime you torque this stator down to this pump body, if you notice, these threads come all the way flush. So if you pull this thread up and you over tighten the bolt, pull this thread up, it's going to leak here and here. So if you tighten them all these up too much, now you're going to have cross leaks in between here because you're going to pull this metal up right here. Okay, on all the later versions, they chamfered this right here to where if you ever over tighten this bolt, it would never pull it up right here where you'd have cross leaks in between your pump stator and your pump body. So anytime you do these old ones, you always want to come in here and buff this down just a little bit around these bolts right here and make sure nothing's been lifted. Okay. You got a little bit of the bluing off here. We want to check and just make sure there's no lips or anything like that. Stator still looks good here. We want to look in here for any major wear where our sealing rings run. Also, on anytime we do a race car, we always try to put the diesel dimpled bushing in this. You see it there. He wants to check this thing though, because I'm seeing bushing wear kind of on the bottom of the. Let's see. This will go in like this, pretty much. Kind of weird. It looks like it's almost on the top of the bushing, but kind of looks like it's got a little bit of wear on the top. I don't understand how that would be. But you can see it. Flywheel flexing on these type of cars with high horsepower is a real critical thing. The SFI flywheels that you buy from some companies, the cheap ones, little $300 ones, $200 ones, they just don't work. They'll still flex, especially you make 800, 900,000, 1,500 horsepower. A normal SFI flywheel isn't going to work at all. So we like running the Mizzier flywheel. We run the Mizzier flywheel on the Dirty Bird. They hold up a lot better. We have no flexing. Actually, the Power Glide we just did that had for the dragster, he just bought a Mizzier flywheel. The Blown Roadster Power Glide that we just did, he just bought a Mizzier flywheel because he was having flywheel flexing and all that type of stuff. You're going to see it in the pump. You're going to see it in the bushing because the torque converter starts moving around when the flywheel flexes. You can see here we have a gas gear. Chrysler did some crazy stuff on pump gears and stuff. They made them like 500 different times, different sizes, different diameters, different teeth thicknesses. I mean everything. So you always want to Put new gears anyway in it. You can put a diesel pump in this if you had one. If you could find one that retrofit, it'd fit. Okay. I talk about adding clutches to these drums and using a forward apply plate. This is an example right here of me doing it. You can see here, some of these, when I do it, I have to shave this down because it'll rub right here on this forward drum. Right here. So I'll take and shave, you know, 1/8 of an inch down on this thing all the way around. That way it gives me enough clearance right here to where when I apply this clutch, this doesn't come up and touch this drum right here because it sets physically right on it. Like that. What I do is I put my pump together, I flip it over, and then I apply air in this feed hole right here to apply this high clutch. And if that clutch lifts this forward drum up, then we know it's touching. So then I'll shave some off that backing plate now is what it is instead of an apply plate. But I have to shave enough off to where when I apply the third gear clutch, it doesn't lift up on this drum. That tells me there's enough clearance there. Now, you know, if you're setting clearances and stuff, this washer here is selective, and also this pump washer right here is selective. So you can kind of move it around a little bit too and get clearances in between here and here. You just got to really know what you're looking for. Larry's a really good guy. I always try to help him as much as I can.
We've known him forever.
Forever. Got 5 high energy clutches in here. Look really good still. The end one's starting to get a little dark maybe, but that's normal. You can see where your sealing rings have been running. You can see here it's not towards the edge, it's more in the middle here. I'm in the middle there, it's not close to the apply hole, not close to the chamfer where it'll blow the ring out. Looks really good there. Wide bushing. They do make a narrow bushing depending on what your tranny you have too. So we're going to get in here and look at our forward clutches. Now here's that forward apply plate I was talking about that we use for the third gear clutch so we can add more clutches. See, that's where that comes from. That's down in here. 4 clutches is plenty on any type of application. My diesel that makes 800 horsepower, 1400 foot-pounds of torque only has 4 clutches in it in the forward drum. So the forward clutch will hold a ton of power, but you got to be careful when you start upping the pressure up in this tranny, because that when I was applying air to this tranny, you heard that blop blop sound. That's this bevel plate bending. So you got to be careful. Right there.
Yeah, what is that?
I'm going to show you here in a second. I found it already. But you can see right here on this bevel plate, we're seeing metal. We're going to have to find out where that's coming from. But when you apply air to this, this bends forward, this piston comes up, bends this up, and pushes on this apply plate to apply the forward clutch. So if you put too much air to this, this piston can come up so high and bend this where this doesn't go back to its normal form. And I've done it in diesels to where no more than I put it into gear, it bent that thing instantly and had to pull the tranny back out. They do make different variations of this bevel too. They make a cheapy looking one, they make a good looking one like this one. These don't bend, but the other ones, these do bend, they all bend, but I mean this one doesn't bend as easy. We have our plastic little ring here. So that's under the snap ring. We have our intermediate band. See, it's starting to get a little warm where the rivets are. That holds it together. Or spot welds, I say, anyway. But a good band. I mean, this old car runs good. It's going to run even better with that bigger motor. So we'll get this planet out of here real quick and see what we got going on here. I think that planet's split. I think this planet is broken. Oh yeah, it stripped it, look. That's what happened to this thing. Well, we've always talked about putting steel planets in these, and I got one of the best videos out there on our other YouTube channel on swapping a 48RE diesel planet into this tranny here. The splines are different, so you got to find the right shaft. They make an early and a late output shaft. The splines are different right here, and you can physically put a steel planet in right here. And anytime you do a trans brake, really high horsepower, you're going to break this right here. So that tells you that the power that he's making now already broke that planet. So could you imagine putting that 500 cubic inch Indy motor in there? He's going to knock that planet out the first time he hits it on the starting line. So let's see if I can get this off here. There we go. You can see here where it split the planet, the crack right there. It stripped all the splines out in here. That's what I'm saying. A diesel, you cannot put this in a diesel. The early model 5.9 diesels, the little 12 valves that only made like 200 something horsepower or 190 horsepower and no torque, they got away with that for a little bit. You know, but once they started putting fuel plates in them and stuff like that, upping the power up, here we go, start stripping these planets out. And a trans brake will do it right off the bat. You'll come up on that trans brake and start to bump in or popping and cracking and all that type of stuff, and bam, all of a sudden it goes to neutral. You just lose everything. That's kind of weird. Just got that dent right there in that thing. Didn't do nothing. Just a little spot right there. Now, we also have a 3-pinion planet down in here, which we just started being able to get the 6 ones. So we're definitely going to upgrade this to a 6-pinion. We're going to upgrade this to a steel. We're going to get some time in this, but man, I enjoy doing this type of stuff. It makes you think a lot. You got to think a lot anyway, but it makes you think even more. But you look at the output shaft here, you can see all the metal stuck in the splines. Just push it out. I got actually.
There's all the teeth.
Man, I wish I would have tried to dig out a planet over there. I probably got a diesel planet over there that I could set on here and see if it fits. We're definitely going to have to get it a diesel planet, and it's a steel one. But we might have to find the output shaft to fit the spline. So we might be hunting for a little bit to do that. I'm hoping I can just put a planet on here and be done. We don't ever see the shaft twisting off right here, even with a trans brake application. This shaft's so long that it would twist before it would break. So my diesel, Dodge diesel, it's got an output shaft like this that's really long, stock, and I've never broke it. Never broke it. And I've pulled some big old loads with it. We got our reverse drum back here. You can see it's got a little land on it right here, and you can see where the band is running. Let me get the band out right here. They made multiple band sizes. So you got to really watch when you buy your band, because like I said, they make multiple diameters, they make multiple bands. Let me see if I got the right band for this when I ordered it. Yep, looks right. You got to look here too, because they didn't so much change, excuse me, when I said band size, they didn't change the band size. They changed a lot of this stuff through here. So when you put it in there, it won't even work, right? But if you notice here, look what they did later on in life. Not in the 3-speeds, but in the overdrives. They added the overdrives. Some of the overdrives had a single wrap band, the early ones, and then they started adding a double wrap band. Okay, when they did the double wrap band, they had to change the size of the servo right here because it was just too big. So they went to a lot smaller servo because it just didn't need the apply pressure from the servo to apply the band. So the servo for this band is half this size. It's probably from here to here. And then on the single wrap band, they needed more surface area to make this band hold. Okay, pretty simple. Now, anytime we go to when it's a fully manual tranny, your reverse servo right here, if you notice there's no spring in here. When we shift this or put it manual low, this reverse band comes on to help support this roller clutch down here in the bottom, okay? When it shifts to second gear, this band has to come off before this second gear band comes on. So if this band comes on faster than this band releases, then we got a problem. You're gonna feel that little bind up feeling, okay? And how we do that is, you gotta think of this. Anytime you got, just saying, a spring pushed, this piston pushed, that piston ain't gonna be released until that spring is all the way off, then the band's gonna be off, okay? As long as it's retracting, the band's still on. But if I take and make this solid, no more than this piston moves, this band is released. I want this second gear band to come on nice and quick and just as fast, no more than you move the shifter, I want this band on. I mean, just boom, like that. But this band here's got to get out of there before that band comes on. So I just make this solid. That way, no more than this piston moves, this band's off. This band can come on like a jet, just bang, it's on good. So that's a must too. I'll show you something here too. On our intermediate servo here, I do some stuff to it too. Let me show you this. This is stuff you can just do at home, you know, to make your tranny even better. I thought that was... Okay. This servo here has an accumulator in it, built in to where it's going to soften your second gear shift, right? And it's built into this pocket right here, and it's got a little weep hole that releases it. Right there. Is that a little weep hole? Mm-hmm. So what we like to do, instead of leaving this functionable, we will take and normally drop a washer down in here. There's not one in here this time, but we will make this totally solid. But when you make this totally solid, you definitely get a lot firmer shift in second gear. You can have even harsh downshifts. But in race car application, who cares, right? But if you get them shifting too hard, you can break stuff. So that could have been why that wasn't in there this time, but we definitely want to put it in there next time because it's such a bigger cubic inch motor. Now if you come over here, I want to show you something here real quick. We have our Sonex billet servo kit right here that we can put in here too. And if you notice, when you're going to apply this band, fluid pressure is going to come in here and push this servo forward. The more surface area you have from here to here, the more it's going to push and put more pressure on the band. It'll even put more pressure on the band with less fluid pressure when you have a wider surface area. So what we do, we drop this sleeve down in the bore of the case like this, and then we have this servo set down in there. But look at the distance from here to here on how much surface area that we have applying that band. So now when you do that, this servo is a solid. There's no accumulator, there's nothing. It's got a pin that sets on there that's firm. You put your springs in, and next thing you know, that's one solid piece that operates. Okay? But you can also, like I say, let me get this off the floor over here. Sorry guys. But to make it better still, you can drop a nut down in there. Some of the shift kits even come with a spacer you can drop down in there, put that all back together. But just remember, it makes it solid. You can have harsh downshifts, you can have too firm upshifts, especially when you have a high pressure valve body, you know, stuff like that. So it is what it is. But anyway, our main focus right now is this planet. We've got to get a steel planet in this tranny. We're going to upgrade this planet to a 6-pinion planet and get this tranny back together for him. The pump looked good. All the drums look good. The clutches will replace. We've got a complete overhaul kit here from Transtar. It's going to be a really nice bushing kit and stuff, so we'll get this back together. Teresa, we know we appreciate you. I'm just tongue-tied this morning. We're so excited to get out here and do a video. We're really excited. We've been really busy here at the shop. We got our Dodge Diesel done. It's outside, ready to be picked up. So please, don't forget to subscribe. Push that notification bell because we got more to come. Have a great day.